Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled school board meeting. It's going to be broken up into two parts. The first part, we're going to have a budget hearing, and there will be public participation as part of that budget hearing, restricted to the budget hearing. When the meeting is about partway in, we'll have another public participation schedule. If you'd like to speak in that, there's a participation card at the desk. Please fill it out. We will gather them and give you 2 minutes each. Be respectful to the person behind you with your 2 minutes. We will be respectful for you. We get a lot of things accomplished when we work together. I'm now going to call the budget meeting to order for the 22-23, 23-24 budget year pursuant to ORS 294.453. Go.
Thank you. Like you said, the purpose of the budget hearing is twofold. One, it's to receive any recommended changes to the budget document that was approved by the budget committee. And it's also to provide for an opportunity for public input on the 2023-24 budget. There is one recommended change to the approved budget. There is a memo that went out. It is to adjust the 400 capital projects fund appropriation. No action is needed on this. If the change is acceptable, then it's reflected in the resolution that you will pass later on tonight, where you adopt the budget, you levy the taxes and appropriate the funds.
We thank you for your diligence and do hard work on that. We're honored to have tonight the budget subcommittee chairperson, Mr. Keith Cubic. Would you like to come and share a few words?
Turn it on.
Speak to the audience.
Well, both actually. Just hit the green button.
We can push the green button.
Or else turn it. There you go.
Good evening. Thank you for that introduction. Keith Cubic, 159 West Broccoli, Roseburg, Oregon. And I wanted to speak tonight as an informed citizen, but also who serves on the budget committee, who's had the privilege of chairing the budget committee. I wanted to convey my support and recommendation for the adoption of the budget. The budget is well prepared, and Cheryl Northam and staff should be complimented for the quality of the budget we had this year. Thank you very much. 2, it's founded on sound strategic plan, which focuses on positive outcomes for our children and our community. 3, it was thoroughly explained to the budget committee and pointed out, and the process pointed out the exceptional child-focused programs that we are delivering to the citizens of our district. And 4, it's fiscally responsible to the community, and it is the effective use of public education's financial resources. I believe the budget you are reviewing tonight is built and will be implemented to provide a high quality of public education and a program that serves our children and community correctly. And that's all my comments for this evening.
We thank you kindly, sir, for your tremendous amount of time taken and spent at no pay to be the public spokesperson for this. And since this was not an action item, we're ready to move on, so we will adjourn the budget hearing committee. I did. Anyone else want to speak about the budget? No other speakers about the budget. There will be another public participation in a moment. Moving forward, we will close the budget hearing and open up our regularly scheduled board meeting. And the first order of item is to pledge of allegiance. We all stand. I will lead us off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everybody. Communication, the view of the agenda.
Thank you, Chair Johnson. Appreciate it. It's great to see everybody here tonight. Great to see the board members. I do want to thank Dr. Weber and her staff for graciously welcoming us tonight, getting this set up for us. I know it's a busy time of the year and I appreciate that. In terms of our review of the agenda, since the publication of the agenda, we've had one resolution replaced with a specific meeting for June 14th for a supplemental budget consideration. Thanks to those who have responded back to Janet on that, we will need to make sure we have a quorum in that. The minutes for May 24th have been added. We've postponed the surplus items. There is a CNI report and action item tonight that have been added for consideration for the board on the math adoption. We've combined those two into item number 4 tonight on the agenda. Other than that, it takes care of the review and the communication. Back to you, Director Johnson.
Thank you very much. We're honored to have tonight two students from Roseburg, Sylvia Ackman and Hannah Heiberger. We understand Sylvia's been elected the ESB Vice President for the next year, and Hannah was elected ESB President for the 23-24 year. Ladies, share your report.
Wanted to start with graduation. On Saturday morning, 350 students, a part of the class of 2023, received diplomas. 330 walked the stage. As emphasized during our homecoming assembly and by the class speaker, Hunter Fullerton, they are off to do wonderful things.
So on to leadership. Most exciting to us in this topic would be that Sylvia and I were elected as the ASB presidents for next year. We're really excited, and we have been working with our class to present new activity proposals, and it's been really great to get those new ideas. And some of our main goals include reinstating the club grants program and incorporating a quarterly school board type meeting for the members of the student body and staff to come in and give us their valuable input. About 2 weeks ago, RHS held their annual homegoing assembly. The assembly went really well, and the goal was to honor our graduating seniors and to get a little bit of school spirit right before graduation. We also had our staff lip sync battle, and that went really great. Our wonderful admin team was able to pull off the win. And then leadership also put on our senior family brunch. That was a pretty big deal for leadership because we had made a change to that event. Before, it was the mother-daughter tea, and we decided to expand it and make it a little more inclusive. And I think that was a really great change because it gave everybody an opportunity to be part of our tradition. And then other senior activities like Senior Sunset went on, and Volleybuff went great. It was really amazing to see all of the grade levels having a really great time.
And then for sports, baseball did or I guess it's playoff season, which is super exciting. Baseball did really well in playoffs and made it to the Elite 8. They had a really awesome season. I think we all followed them a little bit. And then boys lacrosse made it to the first round of playoffs along with softball. And then our tracks team is sending 12 athletes to compete against the best athletes in the nation at Nike Outdoor Nationals up in Eugene. And then also from track, Bridget Brooksby, Timothy Johnson, Sienna Nunemaker, and Emmett Collier competed at the state level at Hayward Field last weekend, and Emmett Collier was the state runner-up for javelin. Our tennis team sent freshman Alexander Howard to the state tournament, and he made it to the consolation final. The campus has been busy with loads of award banquets, honoring the around 800 students of RHS students who participated in sports this year. And then kind of sad, but our awesome athletic director, Russ Bullen, is retiring this year, and we are so grateful for the service he has provided for so many students at RHS. And we know Vice Principal Mr. Blue is going to do a great job filling that role.
So onto the school section. Recently, we had 5 members from our CNA nurses program graduate, and that is Addie Scalp, Keelan Johnson, Sorrel Carter, Casamara Bohem, and Amina Juarez. They spent over 80 hours working at Mercy. Orange R has sent their graduation issues to print, and that is all over campus. Drama held the one act night, and it was a success. Yearbook staff was honored by the Jostins in 2003 lookbook for excellence in their publication. Members of FFA showed lambs at the Douglas County Lamb Show last weekend, and our campus held a campus cleanup. As a school, we got multiple clubs together and we cleaned up our campus to help out some of our custodians. And that was a really nice way of our campus giving back.
And then I think Hannah and I, but I guess the whole student body is definitely excited to be wrapping up with finals week. And the campus is definitely looking ready for summer after, I guess the graduation spruce up. We also look forward to serving together as our high school's next ASB presidential team and are super grateful for the opportunity to speak at, I guess, the last regular scheduled board meeting. Thank you.
Ladies, thank you very much. Very great job. I do appreciate it and the board appreciates it. We're not going to have a student and staff recognition. Vice Chair Larson will do the students and I'll do the staff.
All right, if you want to come up and bring all your cheerleaders with you from your school and from your family, I have a certificate. Actually, Reverend Johnson will hand you a certificate and a McDonald's gift card, which is probably more appreciated than the certificate, but they're both wonderful. All right, so first we want to honor from Sunny Slope Elementary School, Kinley Faulkner. So Kinley, do you want to come up? Okay. Okay,
Turn around so everybody.
you gotta come in front and they're gonna come behind you and we're gonna take pictures and stuff. All right. Kinley has been a student at the Slope since kindergarten. Staff at Sunny Slope say Kinley is a fabulous student who is kind and helpful and always ready to do her best. She's also a great role model for younger students who love to see her when she visits their classrooms. Kinley is everything Shine represents: safe, helpful, involved, nice, and empathetic. Not only does she put 100% effort into her schoolwork, but she does so in all areas of life: relationships, service, attitude, and more. She always has a smile on her face and is a friend to those who are feeling alone. Principal Endicott says Kinley is a rock star and will be missed. Congratulations. All right. Okay.
Take a picture.
All right, next from Roseburg High School, Massimo Fellini. Bring all your people. All right, yeah, teachers, anyone from RHS want to come on up? Come on, come up. Massimo is involved in soccer, tennis, and National Honor Society. Oh, good thing Mrs. Bartlett's coming up. History is his favorite subject, and he's taken many AP and honors classes. Massimo's teachers describe him as a wonderful student who has a love of learning that spreads to others. He asks questions that help engage the entire class, and he always participates in class discussions. Additionally, teachers say he possesses a remarkable level of creativity and has a sense of humor that makes class fun. A stellar saxophone player, Massimo is described as a value member of both the wind ensemble and jazz ensemble. Teachers also appreciate his respectful demeanor and consider him a class act deserving of recognition. Congratulations. All right, just gotta, Mr. Hampton, you guys gotta squeeze up. You squeeze up, I'll squeeze back. Squish on in.
You can get behind me, you get in front, and we're so complicated.
All right.
There we go.
We compared roller coaster notes at SeaWorld because we ran into each other at SeaWorld over spring break. All right. All right. And last, Evie Sears from Jolene Middle School. She here? You gotta bring your family, all the people. Come on up, family. Staff at Jill Lane describe Evie as an utterly outstanding student. She plays an active role in concert band, concert choir, and drama. In each of these classes, she sets a great example for her peers. She's willing to take risks and asks questions. She is diligent in her practicing and being on task. And she's been an absolute joy to teach. Teachers say Evie's personal growth over the past few years has been amazing to see as she's grown in determination and confidence. It is with joy that the staff at Jill Lane recognize everything that Evie is today and wish her the very best next year at Roseburg High School. Congratulations, Evie.
Congratulations to all of the students. It is my honor to share the staff tonight. And we're going to first honor Carrie Gordon, the library assistant, Roseburg High School.
Carrie's people.
I'm honored to share with you. Carrie's colleagues describe her as an asset to the fabric of Roseburg High School. She is always willing to help and is described as one of those co-workers who can be a true encouragement right when you need it. Her endless capability and creativity and tenacity and fearlessness and general awesomeness serves as an inspiration. Carrie is the longest serving district librarian who tirelessly worked to make the library and our school a very welcome environment, often unsung. She goes above and beyond to please the students and staff, whether it be suggesting the next great read or making more bathroom passes. Carrie is loyal and loves Roseburg High School with all her heart. Congratulations.
Y'all might as well stay here.
Yeah,
Who's family?
Our next honoree is our social studies teacher, Tasha Stephen Garcia. Allow me. Tasha is described as an exceptional teacher who is dedicated to her students' success. She is a lifelong learner, always seeking to improve her instructional skills, and is known as a quiet leader who wants to be the best she can be for her students. Tasha is a model for her colleagues, and she has helped improve instruction school-wide by working to help improve student discourse in classrooms and supporting the implementation of instructional framework. Tasha has also led the student mock trial team to third place in the regional this year. She demonstrates a growth mindset and is always eager to inspire her students to be engaged in their education. Congratulations, Tasha. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our regularly scheduled last meeting for this school year. And the voters have asked that 3 new board members be placed on the board, which means we have 3 board members that are leaving us. And we want to honor them. and it's going to be my pleasure to do just that. So first of all, we'd like to have Director Brandon Bishop come to the front. Bring his family in. Is his family coming?
What's that? They're there. Okay. Hey, Bishop.
Come right up here with him.
Come on up here.
Come on up there with him. Yes, indeedy.
I think we got.
And first of all, we're going to give Dr. Bishop a $5 McDonald's gift card. He has been on the board from 2020 till now. He most recently served as the A&P and Curriculum Instruction and Classified Employee Bargaining Committees. As a local physician, Dr. Bishop's perspectives and inspiring leadership has truly been an asset to this board. His inquiring mind has always challenged us to find ways to do what is best for the children we serve. His absence will be felt by this board and administration, but we are grateful to have benefit from his time and his dedication during his time spent with the board. We truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon. And we have a crystal apple for you.
Thank you.
The apple reads Dr. Brandon Bishop, Roseburg Public School Board member 2020 to 2023. Get good to great for the children.
Dr. Bishop, thank you for your service. It's amazing. We love you. We do want to thank King Castillo from our TV department, Wood Department, to put together the plaque for you. And appreciation for your dedication and service. Present that to you as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Our next board member is Rebecca Larson.
Did you hear that? Becky just said, you're so in trouble.
Doug was a little too curious about my schedule. Oh.
Yes.
It's
$5 gift card, the $5 gift card,
only like
$5 gift card. $5 gift card. Mrs. Larson, Becky, as I call her, currently serves as board vice chair and a member of the Building and Sites Bond Development Committee and the Curriculum and Instruction Committee. Mrs. Larson has served previously as chair, and when she was chair, I was vice chair under her. Director Larson is an experienced, seasoned, talented teacher and has been invaluable to her insight to what school employees are challenged by, as well as their hopes for the future. Her heartfelt dedication to not only her own children, but all of those we serve is clearly evident in each and every board meeting and cannot be replaced. We thank you, Becky, for everything you do every single day to help make others' lives more meaningful and to be the very best that you can be. And when I first met you, you grew in my eyes. You were first just a person, then you became a woman. Then I knew you were a mother and a very loving, devoted employee, and most importantly, a woman of faith. I'm proud to know you.
Thank you.
First Crystal Apple says, we have amazing staff and students at RPS.
Okay.
Attorney Charles Lee. His wife was here.
There she is.
Come on up.
Susan. We give it to Susan or this yours?
$1.30 for a large coffee, $1 for a small coffee, a drive-up window at McDonald's.
There you go. It's all you.
Director Charles Lee has served this community since 1995. 28 years. Most recently, he served as chair of the Classified Employee Bargaining Subcommittee, a member of the Policy Subcommittee, and an alternate to the Building and Site Bond Development Committee. Charles has previously served as leadership position as the chair of the school board. We have enjoyed Charles' unique perspective on everything imaginable over the past few decades. As a practicing attorney, his experience in the legal field has been very helpful, and his dedication to the children served by this district is truly immeasurable. There is no feeling of void that will be left by his departure. All we can do is convey our heartfelt gratitude for his time and his well service. And I'd like to share with you personally, you and I, we have a lot in common. As an attorney, you convince 12 people that something is truthful, and as a preacher, I do the same thing. Congratulations. Charles, Crystal Apple says, consider all viewpoints in decision making.
I heard that reference to a unique perspective.
Yes.
I think that's reflected in the number of 6-1 votes. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor that you took part of your time to come out and visit with us tonight and to participate with your staff and students and departing board members. We're going to take a 4.5-minute intermission. If you'd like to leave, you can do so, or you can stay and watch us work for a little while. God bless you all for coming. Thank you. Have a great day.
How are you? I love your hair tonight. Amazing.
Sarah, you gotta go get that stat. Mom. I got it.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Huh?
Yeah.
It's about an hour and a half, right? It's a good thing your kids look like you're lying. What'd you say?
Very good.
Thank you.
Did you? Thank you. Just, Bill.
Yeah.
What's your rate again? Hey, what's your rate again? Talk about your rate better now.
If anyone online would like to participate in public participation, please use the raise your hand function as well as change your name to your first and last name. Thank you.
Taking care of your dad tonight. I love that kid. He's awesome.
That's not.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. I know. Yeah. Yeah. We've been working on that for a little while. Yeah. You want to remind people about the cards?
I'd like to resume the meeting, calling it to order. Next item on the board meeting agenda is the consent agenda. Has the approval of the minutes, personnel actions, and contract renewals and gifts to the district. Superintendent Garrett,
Oh, yeah. Motion from the board. I guess I don't know.
I need a motion. Rod, move, do I hear a second?
I would love to second this one.
Do we have any discussion? If you're ready for the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show it was unanimous. May I remind the participants here tonight, our guests, from public participation. If you have filled out a card, we have the card. We will call you and we will call the person next behind you. And we will introduce you and we'll give you 2 minutes. If the superintendent needs, we'll put the timer on the wall, and when the 2 minutes expire, please be respectful for the next speaker.
Thank you, Chair Johnson. First up is Christy Bracken and Scott Lovemark. You are on deck.
That light on.
Needs to be green.
Green. Okay. I'm Christy Bracken, president of the OSEA Chapter 21, and I am here on behalf of the classified staff and would like to take a moment to thank the board of directors for taking into consideration the last few years have been hard on everyone across the district, and that inflation has hit our staff hard. In doing so and voting unanimously to ratify a $1 an hour increase for the classified staff shows that the board and the district is aware of the burdens we are all struggling with. We appreciate your time and consideration.
We want to wholeheartedly thank you.
Janelle Hubbard, you're on deck. Scott, come on up. Yep, you're up. I reset it for you.
I was gonna add their time, but
I'm going to try to stay under 2 minutes. My name's Scott Lemark, teacher here at Roseburg High School, longtime coach, 31 years in the district. Tomorrow is my last day officially with kids. So it's been quite a ride. The last 4 or 5 years, I worked really close with Thurman Bell in the football program. You guys know our proposal. We've sent it to you. I've talked with Mr. Corden. I went to him originally. He came to me into my classroom, said, hey, I said, do you think it's a good time? Yeah, I think it's a good time. He kind of led me through this process of trying to work through the board and the policies and all that. And it's a sticky wicket. It's kind of hard to get through and get up in 2 minutes and make a case for someone who spent 45 years of his life, in Roseburg, committed to kids and students. But I was driving in and I happened to think about Kent Weigel from South Umpqua. And I said, man, he was a coach down there. And I think he got it. So I Googled it, came up with the story that he coached there for 16 years and did a fantastic job winning records, like the third or fourth winningest coach in there. I think Coach Bell is third, but and they came out with a story in 2020 about how they had named the stadium after him. I said, well, that's great. He spent 16 years there. He developed a really good program and everything. And then he went down the road over to Marshfield for 20 years and developed a program down there. And then I read farther in the story and well, Marshfield had named their stadium after, or vice versa. And I thought, man, that was a good way to recognize people. And he said, yeah, it just it's a nice way to recognize somebody who spent a lot of time within the district. And I know there's some policy issues and some things that we're thinking about. We don't know if it has to be a unanimous vote. I think we're adding a name, we're not changing a name. But as you read through all those policies and I read through them, it says it's really the board decision. It's your guys' decision to do that. And I'm going to have to run over just a little bit. All right. And the other thing was we're thinking that the stadium is going to be devalued because we might have a corporation that comes in and wants to propose, we'd like to give you some money.
Thank you. Your time is up. We need to leave time for everyone else. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. But I will tell you, there's not one high school field in the state of Oregon that's not named after a corporation. They're named after coaches, players, and community members. And I'll leave you with that. And I hope we can continue this discussion more. All right. Thank you.
Next up is Janelle Hubbard and Lori Way. You are on deck.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hubbard. I'm a math teacher at Jolene Middle School. I've been in the classroom for 20 years. I get the joy of becoming our graduation coach at Roseburg High School next year. I'm asking you to think about the math adoption that's being proposed today for secondary math curriculum. Being proposed is Open Up. It is a free curriculum that does not take any of the budgeted money that is needed for curriculum. My proposal is that maybe we postpone adopting immediately and we give it another year. The state of Oregon allows us to have an extra year to pilot. The state of Oregon gives school districts 16 different types of curriculum to pick from. And our district looked at those 16 and wanted to find a curriculum for secondary mathematics that would teach middle school through high school, so 6 through algebra. And the purpose was to align with our position paper that says that we want a rigorous, accessible, aligned district adopted curriculum that will develop critical thinkers and prepare them for post-secondary and career and life success. I do not feel the curriculum that's being proposed meets those needs. We were only allowed to look at 3 pieces of curriculum, and out of the 16, the reason we were only allowed to look at 3 of those was because they went from middle school through high school and they wanted us to pick a curriculum that we would all be teaching the same one, middle school or high school. Well, when it came down to it, middle school and high school couldn't come to a unified decision, could not agree on one. So now the district's allowing us to adopt 2 different curriculums, Open Up for middle school and CPM for high school. Well, I would like the option to continue looking at the other 13 because we were only given the option to look at the 3 that go to high school. Now that we're being allowed to adopt a different curriculum than the high school, I think that it would be wise to look at the remaining 13 curriculums that might be written in a better way, and they actually are accessible and rigorous, because the curriculum we're adopting is not. It is rated out of the 16. It is the second worst rated curriculum
Thank you.
out of those 16. It's the second worst rated.
Lori Way, and on deck is Rachel Jackson.
Throw these up here. My name is Lori Way. I'm currently a math instructor at Roseburg High School. I've been teaching for 28 years, and this week I will finish my 5th year at RHS. My reason for speaking with you tonight is to simply review the process that has been unfolding throughout this year. As teams of both middle school and high school representatives, along with administration from each level, participated in the curriculum adoption process for mathematics, sharing a common purpose of choosing curriculum that not only met or exceeded 2+1 standards from Oregon, including new standards focused on reasoning, but was also aligned with the Roseburg Schools mathematics position paper, supported the 5D framework, the 8 standards of mathematical practice, offered multiple collaboration opportunities, and included additional instructional best practices such as NCTM's principles to action to create student-centered instructional experience. The 15 math representatives from the schools collaboratively began last fall by looking at all the aforementioned items to become very familiar with the expectations for each area, and in addition connected the mathematical habits of mind and interaction, the teacher development group's mathematically productive teaching routines, and coupled them with the Oregon Math Project's 4 cornerstones, which include focus, engagement, pathways, and belonging. In December, the middle school and high school collaborative teams reconvened and discussed the timeline and process for the pilot and adoption. In February, we gathered and reviewed materials on the adoption list, agreeing upon 3 curricula that would be trialed over a 12-week period. 22 instructors across the middle and high schools took part in the pilot that lasted from March to May. At the end of that process, feedback was solicited and rubrics reflected focus and coherence, rigor, mathematical practices, instructional supports, and assessment were filled out and submitted to the district curriculum and instruction team. After a meeting of discussion, critique, and debate, the collaboration recommended open up resources for middle school and CPM for high school. In summary, the process was tested and measured against policies and best practices. Stakeholders, including teachers, parents, and students, were involved. Feedback was solicited, analyzed, and recommendations to the curriculum and instruction team were made with collective fidelity. It was a very professional and collaborative process. Thank you for your time.
Rachel Jackson.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Jackson. I've been a teacher for 29 years. And I'm here on behalf of myself tonight, and also my husband, who couldn't be here. He's a teacher at Fir Grove. And I'm actually here tonight to express deep gratitude for Becky Larson, Brandon Bishop, and Charles Lee, who have served as members of our school board for a total of 36 years. It is with immense appreciation that we recognize the dedication, the sacrifice, the unwavering commitment each of you have demonstrated throughout your tenure on the board. My father was a school board member for 8 years, and I remember so many nights when his chair was empty at the dinner table. I remember nights he came home after working 10, 12 hours on the ranch and sat in front of binders of paperwork. Few people realize the countless hours that committed school board members devote to schools. Your service has been characterized by a profound sense of responsibility and genuine passion for the betterment of Roseburg Public Schools. You have propelled our district forward through some very uncertain times. The mascot, COVID, masking, Zooming, the bond 1, 2, and 3. Your tireless advocacy for quality education for our students, equitable opportunities, and the well-being of all of them has been truly inspiring. You have championed initiatives that have enriched the educational experience of countless individuals, staff, and students alike. Beyond the boardroom, you have gone above and beyond to engage with our school communities. I have seen you at open houses, games, graduations. Your presence at these events has been noticed, and we appreciate your genuine care and concern for the students and families that you serve. So your contributions extend far beyond your official roles. You have been advocates, mentors, and role models for our students, showing them the importance of integrity, perseverance, and most of all, lifelong learning. On behalf of the entire school community, I express our deepest gratitude for your selfless service, your steadfast commitment, and your enduring impact on the lives of our students. Your contributions will continue to shape the future of education in our district for years to come. Please accept our heartfelt thanks. And if Haley was a rock star and we'll miss her, you guys are like Taylor Swift and the Rolling Stones, and we're going to miss you so much. Thank you so much.
Chair Johnson, that concludes public
Do we have any
participation.
Zoom?
No.
No Zoom. We like to remind the audience.
I actually signed up.
Okay.
Sorry, okay.
It was on the same form.
Oh, it was on the same form. I did not receive that form, so.
You did miss it earlier.
Okay, come on up then. Sorry about that, Keith.
A second opportunity this evening. I just want to congratulate Rod on his reelection, but I would really like to thank the board members who are leaving at the end of the month. I believe there are 3 critical characteristics needed for excellent board members: fiscal responsibility, a genuine care for the development of our children, of the community, and a belief in and a value for public education. You have demonstrated that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know being a school board member is difficult, often difficult and challenging. Volunteers, elected job, it is a difficult job. Your commitment to Roseburg Public Schools was valuable. And again, thank you. And it's with mixed emotion you leave the board, because I've left the board before. But I just want to say thank you to the 3 of you. You've done an excellent job.
So, on behalf of the Roseburg School Board, I want to thank all of the participants who took the time to be respectful and share their thoughts with us tonight. If you'd like to leave now, you can leave so quietly, but do not interrupt the meeting. We will continue on. The next item on the agenda is resolution 22-23-15, adopting the 2023-24 budget. Cheryl?
If there are no additional questions, would you guys vote?
I so move that we adopt the budget.
Have a motion to adopt, have a second?
A second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Second item is to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Roseburg Education Association of salary adjustment. Superintendent Jerry?
Thank you, Chair Johnson. Item 2 is the MOU for salary only for our licensed staff, REA. That's found on page 45 of your packet. And we'll need a motion and a second to approve that, Chair Johnson.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And motion and second. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record reflect it was unanimous. We have item 3, an MOU with the OFEA, a salary adjustment. Superintendent Jarrett?
Well, we have an MOU for OSEA here for our classified staff. And we'll need a motion and a second for that approval tonight, Chair Johnson.
I motion that we approve the measure.
Go ahead. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the committee report on the curriculum and instruction. We have 2 people who are going to share that. Director Crimmins, are you going to give the verbal report?
I'll just open with the fact that the curriculum and instruction committee did meet, and math does matter. And this is the curriculum that we've been working on to approve. And I feel that it was properly investigated. And I think that there was a pretty strong feeling amongst the teachers that we received and the fact that parents were involved and students were involved in opinions about it, and those were all taken into account. So I'm one to really want to have more involvement with the community so that they're aware and know what we are approving and purchasing. And I think there's some real exciting changes that we will be making that will help our students to not just be meet standards, but really be proficient and above in math. We've focused on a lot of different areas, but right now literacy, math, writing, those we're getting back to a lot of concentration on those. So I really think that Michelle and Joe Weber have been working hard on this and look forward to some good changes. Anything that takes place will be a positive direction for us as a district. So Michelle, if you want to.
Thank you, Director Kremitz. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee is making a recommendation to the board to approve open up resources for middle school and CPM for high school. You do have a copy of the PowerPoint in your packet. If there are any questions, I will answer them now, and then after that, we will ask for a vote.
Any question from the director?
Actually, I have something more in the way of a comment, is that over the years, I've seen a number of adoptions, not as many as we're supposed to have, because we usually didn't have enough money for the adoptions. But I've also been impressed over the years with the strength of belief that teachers have about different curricula. It's not been my experience that people are normally unanimous in their choices. I've also come to realize that because of that, it's important that we have a process in place to make decisions. And it seems to me we've gone through that process here. There's been a decision made, and that the thing that makes sense is to go ahead and follow through on that without leaving the question open again for a couple of years. So I'm inclined to vote in favor of this adoption.
Are there any other comments? The chair would entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the curriculum as is.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing there's no opposed, let the record reflect it was unanimous. The next up on the agenda, report section, and we ask to Jared to bring his report.
If you're interested in the presentation, you'll have to get kind of close. There's small print on there. All right, thank you, Chair Johnson, the board, for the opportunity to provide a report tonight. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. And so I have a bit of a lengthy report tonight. I'll try to move relatively quickly, kind of tonight. I want to do two things tonight, and the first is just we've heard already tonight our appreciation for our outgoing board members. We care deeply about them. We are so grateful for each of you for your service. Public service is hard. It doesn't pay well. It's been said tonight. But I'm really thankful for the commitment of these three individuals and for our current board. We're thankful for all they've done. And also, just as we get to the end of the year, want to thank our staff, our parents, our students, our community members who have helped to shape the lives of our kids. So many things happen in the course of a day and a week and a year with kids. Those course corrections our kids get, the extra encouragement our kids get. Unfortunately, not every student comes to us in the morning having the support that they always need to get through the day. Some kids come to us hungry. Some kids come to us with challenging mornings and situations. Some go home to challenging situations. And it does take a group of people who are committed to the success of students. And kudos to our board, our staff members, our families, our students for persevering and having a great year. So thank you. I also want to spend a moment and just thank our new board members, welcome them. Officially, they'll start in July. Their term unofficially starts July 1. They'll start when they're sworn in on the 12th of July. And we look forward to working with them and partnering with them as we continue to organize and look for ways to better support our students and our staff and our families. I also want to just say congratulations to our class of 2023. Thank you to the board members who were able to participate. Not everyone was able to be in person, but I know those who weren't were watching on Zoom. We've got great kids and we're really excited for them. I've often said that our democracy, our freedoms as a country, our economic prosperity hinges upon the generation of kids we send out into the world to work and to be great citizens. And we've got a great group of kids again that we should be proud of that are doing great things. We have some back tonight that have been doing great things. And we're excited about this group of students who's going to go out and will make a difference in the world in a positive way, will contribute, and we need them to contribute. And we're excited about the students that have graduated. I can't say what happens at every high school and district. I don't know. But what I do know here is this, that you must earn your diploma here. And we demand rigor in our classes. And we want to make sure kids get a relevant education where they can be critical thinkers. And I looked at these 300 plus kids that came across and got their diplomas. And I'm not worried about the future with these young men and young women. And so congratulations to the class of 2023. All right, I want to spend about maybe 10 minutes tonight, could be a little longer, talking a little bit about the state of our schools. This is not akin to a state of the union, but maybe a little bit like that, to just talk about where we're at as a school district, the state of our schools. And I want to start with this important frame, if you're following along, and that is essentially, how are the children? You probably heard this story, maybe from me or maybe somebody else, but that Maasai warrior tribe that's talked about, those fearsome warriors in Kenya, have this greeting and this very kind of, I don't know what to be akin to, maybe an Army Ranger, an Navy SEAL, I'm not sure, have a greeting, and their greeting is, and how are the children? And the response is, hopefully the children are well. And I'm grateful for the board for adopting a strategic plan that is focused on our kids. So you're all familiar with the plan. You adopted it, you developed that. The plan has a core, and the core is around care, support, instruction, and graduation, and a plan for success. And around that, we have 4 key areas that will drive that strategic plan forward. And I want to give a bit of a report on that tonight. I want to start with the item of the topic of care. The care is sometimes a challenging measure because care can be a personal, care can feel personal, whether we're cared for or not. But there are indicators I want to talk about and action items tonight. Some of the things this year that we as a district have focused on at the direction of the board and direction of our cabinet and our teams and listening to our staff and families. I want to talk about some of the things we've done in the area of care. The board has been focused on safety and security. Yes, we did try a funded bond. We have work to do there with our community to help people better understand the inextricable link between healthy schools and a healthy community. I don't think we totally understand that yet as a community. I think that's work we still need to do. But we have, at the board's direction, done a number of safety and security updates district-wide. We've implemented a visitor management system. That's Raptor. We've done some perimeter fencing and continue to do that. We've secured entrances. We've bolstered our safety team to try to make sure that we can care for our students. For those of us who have students in school, our own kids in school, for those of us who welcome students in school, I'd say as a parent, as a superintendent, the number one responsibility I put on our school district, on myself included, is when I drop my kids off there, I expect that at a minimum, they come back as well as I dropped them off. Ideally better, a little smarter, thinking a little more inquisitive. But at a minimum, our expectation is around safety. And we can't talk about care for students without talking about safety. Those are some of the things we've done. We're continuing to address some facilities needs, even though the bond was not successful. We're sitting here looking across at the old main. We've transitioned students out of that building. We've written grants, we've applied for grants, and we've had some seismic updates as a result of those. We're continuing to look at that. We prioritized professional learning, and there's a lot to there on a whole bunch of things around suicide prevention, intervention with students, and response training. Now, here's what our kids said. We asked our kids a number of questions this year through the IRE data. 90% of our kids say they have teachers that care about how they're doing in school. 9 out of 10. And that's a good indicator for us. We're not at 100% there in the data, but it's pretty strong, some work to do. 95% of their kids, that's up from last year, say they feel safe in their classrooms. And there's a variety of reasons for that. That's just not the structure of the building either. We've seen, in terms of some indicators, we've seen a pretty significant reduction in suspensions and expulsions this year across all schools. And we've got kiddos that are saying to us that they're receiving the care and support they need to be successful in school. So some positives there. In terms of support, another indicator the board is interested in, I don't need to read all of these, but we're trying to partner with providers. ADAPT is a good example. We have support and therapists in all of our buildings now. That's up from hardly any buildings a year or two ago. We've talked about the Ed Center before. We're able to and have been able to eliminate the barrier of access to things like athletics and activities. It doesn't matter your zip code, you should be able to participate. We've tried to do that. We've continued to do free meals and focused on a variety of things to make sure kids have support in the classroom. In terms of the student responses, 92% of our kids say they have at least one adult at school who knows them well. And that always feels good that you feel supported as a student that way. 93% of our students said many adults pay attention to how they're doing in school. And so there is this idea and this ecosystem of support that our kids are feeling, which is good. In terms of other indicators we look at, we have had this year is the highest reported number of students participating in athletics and extracurricular activities and clubs on record. I think that has something to do with eliminating fees, but it also has to do with the fact that they feel supported here. We have coaches and advisors and staff that work well beyond their contract hours to make sure kids feel connected, and that's great. We also have had some real success from FFA to robotics to a variety of things. We've got students that are competing regionally, nationally, and internationally and showing success in those things. So we've got an ecosystem of support there that we're proud of. We're never done in this area, but there's some things that are highlights for us there. Moving on to instruction, another one of the key areas that the board has been interested in. We continue to focus on the instructional framework. And I know I'm kind of like a broken record on this. If an organization doesn't agree on what good instruction is and what good instruction contains and looks like, how to measure that, how to get feedback on that, that organization will fail. It will fail because there'll be random selection of what we see from classroom to classroom. And we have had 3.5 years into a very intentional focus on an instructional framework around what are the tenets of high quality instruction that lead to outcomes. And so that has been something we're continuing to do, and we're doing some wrap up, and now we're operationalizing that work. We talked about supports for teachers and instruction with material adoptions, trying to increase access to high quality literature with classroom libraries, and then really trying to target specific trainings around ELA, math, TAG, and other things. We've also talked about this joint UCC position to improve pathways for students as well. In terms of what kids tell us, just under 90% say that they have adults in our schools, and this is particularly a high school question at RHS, who help them plan for career in college, 89% of our students. And 84% report that they work hard on their work at school. We didn't ask teachers for rebuttal to that because that wasn't part of the question, but our kids say they're working hard, which is great. In terms of indicators around instruction, we've heard this again, but we've had maybe help me on this one, Russ, back there, if you're listening. So we rank in the top 10 in the state for students. If we look at the varsity level with our students participating, remember, we have a wide number of students, way more students. So put on your statistics hat here, lots more students participating, and still rank in the top 10 in the state for GPAs. That's done again with commitment to rigor in the classroom. So the 806 rostered athletes this year, they have a combined 3.57 GPA. And so we see kids that are both focusing on their academics as well as instruction. And that's an area I think the board should be proud of. It's an area I certainly am proud of. Okay, moving forward to graduation. So these are 4-year graduation rates you'll see. We've talked about this before. You can kind of see the impact of COVID here pretty vividly. We've talked about ninth grade on track and the work there, and we were about at a 90% graduation rate for the 2021 year. And then that we took a significant step backward in COVID. We anticipate will be about 83%. The numbers, we're still kind of fleshing some of those numbers out. Our goal and expectation is at least a 90% graduation rate. Now we hit that rate in the 5-year completer rate, but we want to be there. It's my expectation we'll be there at the 4-year rate. I'm not going to make excuses about COVID. COVID, I have some slides to show you. It has an impact in terms of lost years in school. And we don't make that excuse. It's an opportunity to move that forward. We're trending back in that right direction, but it is my expectation we'll move forward in that area. We are investing in graduation coaches. I know Janelle's here tonight is taking one of those positions to really not lose sight of the fact that the expectation still isn't just about gaming the system and get to the number. Let me just say this. There are ways to raise the number of students who graduate in a percentage by decreasing other things we expect to happen around rigor and also make sure there's a plan for their success. It's my expectation, and I know our district's committed to do both. So if a student wants to attend Harvard, welcome, Aaron, good to see you. Or they are ready to move right into the industry, that they are ready to go. And it's our expectation, it is the boards, and part of that plan, that when they graduate, they have a plan for their success. So that's still an area we're working toward. I want to spend some time, and I apologize for people in the crowd that can't really see those. Feel free to move closer there if you want to. There's a lot of data here. I want to talk a little bit about formative assessments tonight. And summative assessments, just try to stay with me. I know this is easy to nod off on this, but this is actually really important. So let me just talk a bit about these, and I want to show a little bit of data, some trend data for you tonight. So formative assessments are really, really critical. Formative assessments are actually a much stronger indicator than summative assessments, meaning if I'm a teacher and I'm in a classroom, we should grab a teacher in here. Maybe I'll have Rachel Jackson come up. Not sure. Maybe not. Okay. But formative assessments are when you're in the moment of teaching, you've got that mini lesson and kids are doing the work, they're working towards standards, and a teacher is working in the moment to see if kids are mastering a concept, showing proficiency, moving toward understanding and grasping and saying, yes, I've got that standard. Here's whether it's an essay, a math problem or concept. The formative assessment data is really, really important. So that's one set of data I want to show tonight. There's also summative data, and summative data is a little bit like it's a one-time test you take in the late spring to show if you're proficient. Formative assessment data is also, we actually do multiple formative assessment data, and it's normally a predictor of summative data. So I want to show you some things tonight. It's really the most important data we take to know how to adjust in a classroom, how to move, what we maybe need to reteach, focus on, maybe the students have concepts and we can move quicker. So I want to show you a couple things here. I have reading and math data from each year from 2019 to present. And this is the formative data. And I want to show you, give you an idea where we're at. Let me talk a little bit about this slide here. So this slide comes from iReady. This is reading data. You're going to see two sets of data here. One of the data is in a triangle, and the green are kids that are going to be at level. And this is 2019-20 data. These are students that we call kind of tier one. This is where kids are at mastering the concepts there. The tier two are what we kind of call that strategic level. It's that level where they're not quite there. They're moving toward being proficient, but not quite there. Oftentimes it can be, depends on how you look at this. We have a couple different data sets. A lot of this is you're close. You could be up to a year behind in a concept, but you're close. The idea is to move the kids in yellow to green. The red are kids that are at risk, we say. At risk in the concept, maybe not at risk individually, but this is kind of at risk. This is like, we're not getting the concept and you're not proficient, and we have to rethink about how to deliver some fundamentally key concepts. And so we took math, for example. If you're not sure what the dot is between the two numbers, like in understanding fractions, we have to move that back to understand what a whole number is, how to break a whole number apart. So this requires a teacher to be able to have to take multiple steps backward to say, where do I intervene? So this is reading data in the triangle, okay? What you'll see on the right are this is reading, so it's going to have some of the key tenets of reading, from phonemic awareness to high frequency words to comprehension to fluency, and how kids rate in there. And again, green is good, yellow is that opportunity, and red is we have to kind of rethink how to move toward teaching concepts, at least within that strand. So this is 2020 data. I want you to take a look at this. I've got another slide I'll show you here in just a minute, but I'll talk about it real quick. Ideally, in a strong system, 80% of the kids are in green. 80 to 85% of the kids are going to be in green. That means you've got a classroom where 80 to 85% of the kids have those core concepts mastered, and you think about what that means for an educator in the classroom. So you're working with some students that are in the yellow, some students who are in the red, and then you kind of can work on interventions with those students. So take a look at where we're at in 1920 in reading. So it gives you an idea here, okay? 40, my eyes aren't really good, 43%, and that tier one, 34, and then 23% of the kids at risk within reading. Okay, this is all schools spring diagnostic. Okay, moving forward to 21-22, you see it changes a little bit, but not a lot. We're seeing a little bit of a reduction at the top end with students at risk. Into 21-22, interestingly, in the pandemic, we're actually seeing closing the gap a little bit in the red and the yellow. We're up to 52% there, and then 57% this year in our spring assessment. So making some progress where that the students in that tier 3 is down to 15%, but it's still 15%. And you see that tier 2 level. So really some positives there, and also an area of concern and systemic concern. We'll talk about here in just a second. So that's where we're at with reading. So we're seeing in the formative side of things some progress where we're moving that work forward in reading. Let's look at math real quick. Math is obviously a significant concern. We look at, here's the 1920 data, only 1 out of every 3 students in the green. Like, that's a pretty significant systemic challenge. If you think about that with a student in 4th grade, then going to 5th and 6th, and that idea of reteaching and thinking those things through. As we move through to 20 to 21, into 21-22 year, into the 22-23 year, we're seeing good momentum in terms of now many more students in that tier 1, fewer students in tier 2 and 2-3, in fact, significantly less in the red, but still, and this is a formative assessment, still needing to really focus on the core. So let me share this slide with you here. I'm on the one with an airplane on it. I'll give you a quick analogy here. Again, what we would need to see and what we need to focus on is a strengthening of the core in the green. Our current data, it is impossible. I'm going to say this again. It is not possible, and I don't say that often, to intervene our way out of where we're at academically. Interventions alone are insufficient. We have to work on providing core instruction and strengthening core instruction for all students to move forward. And really where we need to be and what we're focused on and what we're setting the foundation in. And I want to thank the board for helping setting the foundation for this. It's kind of like an airplane. You have to engineer it right. When you engineer the wing right and you get enough momentum, you will fly. And what we're doing right now is engineering that wing, setting the conditions to get the momentum to really take off. And I think that's where we're at right now. It's that spot. But as we look at this, we're not going to get frustrated. We're not going to yell and scream. We're going to support the heck out of people in terms of really seeing if we can making sure we can get to these numbers. Now, let me pause on the formative side. You can ask any questions you want to and move to summative assessments. These are the assessments that are on the state report card. These are the assessments when you look school to school where we're at with that. I'm not sure I'm doing on my time, but we'll keep going here. Okay. So I want you to look at this. This is where we're currently at in what we call the OSAS data, right? So this is our summative data. This is the once a year data that shows up on how did schools in Roseburg do. So you'll see this is mathematics. We're going to start with 11th grade, 8th grade, 7th down to 3rd. These are our testing years with this. And what you'll see is it doesn't match our formative data. It's actually much lower. This is something we've talked about quite a bit of like, wow, we're seeing movement with kids on the formative side of things, but the summative data doesn't match there. And so we're wrestling with why is that lower? And I think there's a variety of reasons that could be. But what I'll say is this kind of data set here, and this isn't targeted toward any individual teacher or student or school at all. This is kind of where we're at right now, is this makes the role of teaching and coordination really tricky. Because if this is your summative data, what that means for teachers is a lot of reteaching. There's a lot of, can you get to grade level standards today with students, or are you going to be reteaching, reassessing, knowing where students are at? So the goal is to support, of course, the work of the tier 1 and that strength in that core, but also that strategic yellow and into that red. So that's currently where we sit right now. And there's great area for need for improvement in this. In ELA, this is where we're at summative wise. This is still preliminary data with OSAS. It'll be released later on in the late spring, early fall. So this is where we sit right now. So let's see. So this is, and this last one in terms of data shows where we're at with science, math, and ELA across all schools where we sit right now. And again, we really want to see, as we're looking at this data and tracking this, many more students. The dark green are kids that are exceeding. Green is where we're at level. Yellow, we're strategic, we're close. Could be up to about a year behind or less. And then what should be red, but is kind of orange in this slide. Okay. I have a few more slides, if you can stick with me, and then I can answer any questions you have. So let me talk about the outside rings of the strat plan. We have 4 key areas in which we've designed our supports. We've designed our budget around this, and these are areas to support care, support instruction. I want to give you a bit of a progress update on these. I have, this is my own professional opinion, open for debate. People can argue with me, that's fine. But I have kind of where I think we're at in progress with this, and also the area. So the first is around appropriate and timely instruction. And our strat plan says this, that our teachers, and that means our staff, are going to have the resources they need to effectively support and scaffold student learning. We've done lots of work here. I've talked about this tonight and before. I think it's in progress. We're not finished with this. I think we've got some things in process we're working toward, but in terms of my own professional opinion as a superintendent, where I think we're at, I've got us about 5 of 10 along there. I think we're about 50% of the way of where we need to be there. I think we're putting those strategic investments in place, and now we'll start to see that movement as we support staff who support students. In terms of effective operations, this is a tricky one. This is kind of a 2-part one here. That's the point here is we're going to align our resources. Look, we're going to have data informed decisions we're going to make, not just driven data, but data informed. I like that better than data driven, because you can drive yourself off a cliff with the wrong data, to really support exceptional learning environments and students and staff. I gave us 8 out of 10. I think we're about there in these 2 areas. I think if we think about our short and long-term financial health, we're doing relatively well as a school district. And if I think about the capital investments, where we're at with capital investments, we know pretty well in running the 3rd bond where we're sitting at with our buildings, what's the needs need to be. And I think in terms of having an effective operation, minus a bond, we need to get that for sure. But in terms of knowing where we're at being data informed, I think we're in a pretty good spot there. I will say we are going to have an increased focus on instructional operations, meaning data teams and really looking at where are our students doing. That will be an area of focus and improvement as we move forward. But I think we're about an 8 out of 10 in the effective operations side. Leadership development. It is important to realize that nearly every single one of our leaders will be in a different role next year. We've got a lot of our building principals that are moving. In fact, more are moving to a new position next year than are staying. And even those staying have a different role because maybe their team's changing. And so the entire organization is in a bit of a shift. I think that's positive. It's positive because we'll learn things we couldn't learn otherwise. We're going to see things we couldn't see otherwise. It is my expectation that my role and our collective role as an organization is to support the heck out of our leaders and make sure we can provide them with all, what they need to be successful. We're continuing our grow your own aspiring leaders for administrators and growing our own leaders in our district. And we're even in the new hires we've had, the majority of those have come through that aspiring leadership program. And we're going to continue to focus and strengthen that. And I think this is in progress. I think we're about 4 out of 10 in terms of where I see this progress being at, and we've got room to do there in terms of support for our leaders. The last item here is around safe and inclusive environments. I say this often, but if schools are going to be successful, our school community, that certainly starts with our kids, also involves our teachers and our staff, our parents and our community members. They should feel heard. They should be known. They should feel respected in our schools. This will certainly be an area, so long as I'm superintendent, you're never done here. Trust can evaporate quickly. Student situations change, and this will need to always be an area. This is a key tenet of education. I think we're making progress. We made some really good progress here, but we're not done. You're never quite finished in this area. But I think I'm in looking at and hearing from students and hearing that kind of metadata from students. I think we should feel pretty good that that's in progress with most students in terms of feeling safe and heard and respected at school. So with that, I present that kind of state of the district report to you tonight, and happy to host any questions you might have for me.
Any questions from any directors? Mr. Garrett, we do appreciate that. I didn't be in. I did not be in.
I think this was really helpful, giving us the numbers, the real data, as hard as it is to sometimes look at, but you have to know what where you're really at to start, and we have started. And I think we are, like you said, making progress in all of these areas. But I think just our focus is in the right direction. It encourages me to see that your heart and your thinking is similar to what I think most of us feel like too. So together we can do it. We can make the progress that we're looking for.
Thank you.
Any other comment? There be none. I'd like to thank the chair for his superintendent for his effort to put this together. We're now going to listen to the individual director report. As I call on you, you have an opportunity to close the time. Mr. Cotton,
Hoping I'd be able to go last.
you want to go last?
No, I'm fine.
I'll change it to last.
No, you're good. I'm just not really good at saying goodbye. And it's not really goodbye because I'll see these three out and about, but I've appreciated all three of you. You'll be last. You've been, first of all, you love kids. I think that's the key thing to serve on a school board. And all three of you were and are and will continue to be advocates of Roseburg Public Schools. And when decisions were made, they weren't about I or me, it was about us as a team. You don't always see that on school boards. And I appreciated that, and I will always appreciate that. all three of you are very nice. It's easy to be nice. It takes a lot of work to be rude. And you're always just, and I think that's important. I think it's important when you're building a team. You're just model citizens and model board members, all of you. And it's the way the ball bounces. I mean, I could have been right behind you, but for some odd reason, the good Lord has a sense of humor and put me back on. So we'll see what happens. So thank you very much. Thank you for your friendship. Charles, I was thinking it's been 28 years. You and I have sat at this table longer than most marriages.
You've always had seniority on me.
1 year. And you are our historian, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out. Anytime we wanted to know anything about the trains in Roseburg or any school building from way back, you knew it. And I know the first couple of years, well, we live on the opposite side of the moon, you and I, but we always respected one another. It made it easy because I was always right, but you just have always brought something different to this board, and I've really appreciated that. And I'm gonna miss you. And so I know where you live. I know where your office is, and I know that all three of you will continue to be involved with kids. And I just really appreciate your friendship. That's it.
Thank you, Director Cotton, Director Prentice.
I think I've reported what I could on the instruction and curriculum committee, but I also want to really appreciate those of you that won't be here with us anymore, because you've been really helpful to me coming in new, and now we've got 3 new ones, and I'm nervous because I'm supposed to be now one of the ones that needs to know more. But I just appreciate the way you've been willing to help, and now just continue to stay around and be available. And my coffee drinking board member next to me is I'll miss him sharing the pot of coffee. But thank you again for helping us, those other members of the board. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Director. Director Strickler.
I just want to reiterate what everybody else said. It's been a pleasure working with the three of you, and coming in also new. You guys have kind of set an example of what we could do, what we should be doing, and I looked up to you guys all and for wisdom, what I should be doing and how I could be doing it. And I'm appreciative of that from you, and also your guys' ability just to work through problems. This has been, I was told how terrible this job was going to be coming in, and you guys have made it not that terrible. It's been rational discussions about things and not arguing, and I've been really appreciative of this environment. So thank you all for that.
Director, thank you, Director Bishop.
I don't have a lot to say. I've enjoyed serving on the school board. It's about the kids. I'm not an educator, but I love education. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Director Larson.
Pretty similar thoughts to Director Bishop. I'll still be in all the buildings all the time. That's where you've always found me. That's where you'll always find me. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Director Larson. Director Lee.
After our last board meeting, one of the topics we talked about was tearing down a house over there that was connected to a sewer on Finley Street. And that got me interested, feeling nostalgic. I suppose it was a week ago Sunday. I walked by Gaddis Park and across the bridge and located a sewer manhole cover. So I know where that sewer is. And then I walked through the campus here. And I was impressed at how good it looks in terms of the grounds and the maintenance and stuff like that. The bark dust had just been put down. And it was clear to me that the staff worries a lot and takes good care of the facilities here. In terms of all the time I've been on the board, I really think that there's been a change in the administration of the schools, and the organization of learning has become more conscious. People think about plans, people think about how different parts of the education process work together in order to develop the best possible outcome. And I think that's an improvement. It may be that there's still a lot of art in teaching. But we go beyond just the art in doing a lot of thinking. I've really enjoyed being on the school board because the problems are all difficult. There aren't any easy answers. But like people have said, we've worked together and we've talked together and we've fumed about those people in Salem together. And I've enjoyed this very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge Deline. As chairperson, I'd like to say that it's been my focus while serving on this board for 7 years to make Roseburg the shining example of school districts in the state of Oregon, where other school districts would call us and ask us, what are you doing successful that we like to emulate? My favorite quote comes from General George Patton. He says, if everybody in the room is thinking alike, somebody's not thinking. And we have been a board that's been willing to be on accord. We didn't have to always agree. We developed the ability to put in focus what is important and let that drive us in every decision that we make. And I'm proud to be part of that. When we lose focus for the children, we'll either pay for the facilities to educate them, or we'll pay for the facilities to incarcerate them. One or the other. This board has done great work, and I would like to see it continue by having teamwork. Thank you for allowing me to be your chair for the 22-23 year. Our next board meeting will be on the 14th. We need to do that to be in compliance with the law. We ask that you come in. It will be a brief meeting. We'll just open it up and get it done. Anything else before the board tonight? Seeing there is none, as chair, the meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thank you very much for your time and your participation.